tells us Sam ordered 2 hamburgers and 3 hot dogs from the concession stand at the baseball game. His bill came to $19.05. If hamburgers cost $5.25 each, write and solve a linear equation to find the cost of each hot dog. Okay, did I just give you a slope and a y-intercept here? No, we have a lot of unknowns. Okay, everybody needs to watch here because there are some things that I expect. We do not know the number of hamburgers and the number of hot dogs sold, right? We know the number, but we don't necessarily know the cost at first. So when we're writing our equation, let's just look at this first part. So we have to decide what we are going to let x and y represent. Now, these are interchangeable. You could do it differently. So that's why you have to tell me. I have to be able to check. So I could say x is the cost of a hamburger and y is a hot dog, or I could flip them. And both equations will be fine as long as you've told me what it represents. So I'm going to say x is my hamburger cost. And y is the hot dog cost. Kale, you with me? You okay? Why don't you write this one down with us? So, he ordered 2 hamburgers. So to get the cost of his hamburgers, what would you have to do? A hamburger costs X, and you ordered 2 of them. Multiply 2 times X. Okay, and we have 3 hot dogs, so that would be 3 times the cost of a hot dog. Equals, how much money did he spend? $19.05. So this time we are given the information to write our equation in this form. What is that? AX plus BY equals C. Standard form. So we had to write it in standard form. Now I have to answer my next question. Hamburgers cost $5.25. So if I'm looking, my hamburgers, the way I set my equation up, that was my X. So I'm going to plug that in for my X. And then we have to solve from here. So 2 times 5.25, 10.5, subtract over the 10.5, divided by 3, so 8.55 divided by 3, 2.85, is that what you guys got? Okay, that is the cost, so what would my label be on that? So, the hot dog costs $2.85. You do need that label, your dollar sign, to tell me what our number represents. So, make sure you are writing down what x and y are at the beginning. If you didn't write down what your x and y were, then you wouldn't have known which variable you were subbing in. Then, your final answer, make sure we have units. Alright. Look at this one. I want to give you guys just a minute to read the problem, see if you can identify x and y and write your. So tickets at a school play cost $4 in advance or $5 at the door. Total ticket sales for an evening production were $440. If no tickets were sold in advance, write and solve a linear equation to find how many were sold at the door. So that's the second part. Our first part, we're just looking at this. So tickets cost $4 in advance and $5 at the door. What do we need to know? What are my unknowns? What are the two different options for tickets? Okay, the $5 and the $4. Advance or at the door. I know the price. Do I know how many of each I sold? No. So that's what my X and Y represent. So X would be the number in advance. And Y would be the number at the door. So we know that the total sales were $440. So $4 in advance, and X is the number I sold in advance. So it's just 4 times X. Plus 5 times the number we sold at the door. So 5Y equals $440. All right, now we have to solve something with that. So it tells me if no tickets were sold in advance. So which variable is my advance? I'll set that up to be our X. If it's none, what number are we plugging in? 0. So if X is 0, so 4 times 0, that goes away. 5, 5, 5. So 440 divided by 5. 88. 88 what? Tickets. So we sold 88 tickets at the door. Questions on that one? Keep going. Okay, this one we're going to have to be a little bit careful with. Karen's piggy bank has all dimes and quarters. The total value of the money in her piggy bank is $11.40. If Karen has 36 quarters, write and solve a linear equation to find the number of dimes she has. Okay. We only have dimes and quarters, so what do you think X and Y represent? So X is our number of dimes, Y is our number of quarters. All right, so then, do we know how much dimes and quarters are worth? Yep, how much is a dime worth? 10 cents. So when I put that in, I have to do 0.10 because it's cents times my X. Plus, what are quarters worth? 0.25Y equals how much money? So this is our equation. Now, we go back to the second part. If she has 36 quarters, what variable is that? Y. The way we set it up, quarters were the Y's. We plug in a 36 for the Y. Okay, 25 times 0.3 or 0.25 times 36 gives us 9. Subtract our 9. Divide by our 0.10. And we get 24. So that represents 24 what? What's my label? Dimes. And when you do that, you are not writing what X and Y are. If you don't, you automatically lose points, even if your answer is correct. Because if I don't know what your X and Y are, I can't check your equation. They can be switched, so I have to know how you set it up. So we read this, it says Oakville High School Marching Band sold gift wrap to earn money for a band trip. Solid color gift wrap sells for $3.50 per roll, and printed sells for $5 per roll. So those are the two things. We have two types. I told you how much they cost, so what we're looking for is the number of each. So we have the number of solid and the number of print. All right, so if the solid costs $3.50 per roll, how do I write that? X plus the printed is $5 per roll. 5y equals how much? So that's my equation. Did you guys get that? Okay, you have to have X and Y written down. So this stuff to the side, that is not optional. You have to have that. All right, the band sells 325 rolls of printed paper. So printed is the Y that we set up. So we plug that in. Okay, so first we multiply 3.50x 1625 equals our 2500. Next step is what? So 3.50x equals 875. Divide by your 3.50. And x is 250. And those are just rolls, so we're 250 of the solid would be fine. Any questions there? So, I'm going to hand back the paper that you did yesterday. You need to correct any you missed on the front, and then you are doing the back. All of the back are like these. So the very first thing you have to do on every one is what? Tell me what X and Y are. Then you write your equation, then you plug in your